started her career as an agricultural scientist with a degree from the University of Missouri.
I'm from the Midwest.
He worked his family's grain farm in Kansas and later pursued a degree in bakery science.
It's basically a pie dough, but we take it through a couple extra steps to make it a little special.
Several thousand career-seeking miles and a few experience-gaining years later, Anissa and Stuart Shull met at a Colorado restaurant where they both worked in the kitchen.
When we met, we worked in a kitchen in a really remote mountain town, and he was so bossy to me. And I told the chef, you have got to get this guy to stop bossing me around because I'm not going to put up with it any longer. So he had to have a talk with him, and then they said I was fragile. So.
All in all, it's worked out, but when we work together, there's still, well, why are you doing that? Well, why are you doing this? You know, can't work with that. But we don't let it get to us. We don't let it bother us.
Still, they not only fell in love with each other, they found a passion for baking and developed a dream for their future that led them deep into the shadows of the Smoky Mountains. And this is the old bank building in Tellico Plains, and this is also where Stuart and Anissa expect to invest their passion for baking and finance their future dreams. It's called Tellico Grains, and the bank building has always been the center of activity in Tellico Plains. So the bakery is a new gathering spot for townspeople and visitors, as well as a home for Stuart, Anissa, and their daughters.
Carrot cake muffins?
Having a little family restaurant or a bakery, even just a little coffee shop in town, you want to make sure that, you know, that everybody feels a part of it. And being in a small town, that's provided us with that feeling. The small community that we have supports us 100%.
$5.74.
And even with the community's investment, you won't find checks or currency in the old vault. Just flour and the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked goods.
I just went to the apple orchard and got these.
As a scientist, Anissa was part of a team that cloned the first pig, and she relates science to the art of baking.
If you're a scientist and you've got to be very precise about your results, and there's always somebody, you know, there's somebody over you always wanting to check your results, and it's kind of the same way with the bakery. If we mess up, then we hear about it, so we just don't mess up very often. So, but you do, I mean, it's very precise, and you know, it's early morning and late night sort of thing, so it's actually very similar. It just smells a lot better than the pigs.
Since Stuart experienced the simpler Midwestern lifestyle, he brings his farm memories and education as basic ingredients for this artisan bakery.
It's not what we put into the bread, it's what we leave out of the bread. It's really basically boils down to a handful of ingredients that make our bread so good, and it's the old-fashioned way. And it's the way that we see that that's the only way to get it done, I guess. Just to bring it down to simpler times and to use simpler ingredients, and less is more kind of an attitude. And everything that we do, whether it's mixing our bread or shaping or dividing our bread by hand, we also put it in our hand-built brick oven that we put in to our bakery. And what that does is it gives it a little bit of a uniqueness to the crust.
And it's also one of the reasons they don't have to worry about recycling leftovers, because they usually sell everything they bake every day.
There are certain days where we just think, I couldn't handle another person walking through the door, you know, when everything, I mean, because everything sells out every day. And of course people are disappointed when they come in at the end of the day and there's nothing there, but that just means if they come back the next day, it's going to be fresh. And I've always thought, you know, when you go into a place and the pastry case is full when they're closing, you know, what's going on? You know, what are you getting the next day? So we certainly don't like throwing stuff away.
It wasn't an easy start, let's say that. When we first opened up, we would get a lot of requests for donuts. We would get a lot of requests for like cream horns, and we'd get a lot of requests for just a lot of things that you just find at your grocery store. But we just kept at it, doing the things that we knew that tasted good. And throughout time, they would experiment a little bit.
Put something that you like, whatever it is that you like.
So it's been more of an educational process, you know, for us too, just to bring the product to a homier level so that everyone can enjoy it. But once people taste it, they love it.
Oh, a lot more. Get a big bag then. Okay.
Their tasty baked goods also enhance the lunch menu with fresh breads, simple ingredient sandwiches, and salads.
The meats are all sliced right then before the sandwich hour starts, and then all the salads are prepared from scratch, and everything is assembled very specifically. You can't just throw meat in a sandwich and send it out. You know, it's presentation, and that's something that really we always focus on. You know, what's it look like when the customer gets it? So we like to think it's kind of a work of art by the time they get it.
They smell really good.
Delicious. Sure do.
Tellico Grains' success is truly the blending of the community's acceptance, as well as Stuart and Anissa's passion for baking and love for their family.
We love raising our kids in this kind of rural environment. It's just kind of what I always envisioned. So Telico Plains fits the bill for that. A lot of times Stuart and I will talk at the end of the day, like our vision, you know, when people don't understand it, or, I mean, it just comes from us, and that's what makes it, I really think that's what keeps people coming back, because there's no other place like this. You know, it's kind of, it really is just a combination of what we want.
See you later.
And it's worked, you know, so.